Are you stressing out about your grad school admissions interview? Did you get the interview and you don't know where to get started? Well, don't worry, I got you. Today we're going to be going over a series of interview questions to prepare you to ace the grad school interview. So what's that going to look like? We're going to be going over a series of behavioral questions, program-specific questions, and also general questions to make sure that you're extremely prepared when you're going into that interview. And you might be wondering, why am I qualified? Well, I'm Brooke. I'm a career changer turned registered dietitian-to-be who just went through the grad school application process myself. My corporate experience comes with a wide variety of experience interviewing professionals, reviewing resumes, and selecting great candidates for our company. So I want to take my knowledge and transfer that to you to make sure you get into your school. The format of this video is meant to be paused after I ask you the interview questions. So this can act as a mock interview preparing you for the admissions interview. So let's get started with some general questions. Let's jump into it. So introduce yourself and provide me with some background information on work and educational experiences. Pause. Why did you choose to pursue a career in dietetics? Pause. What inspired you to apply to our program specifically? Pause. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Pause. How do you handle stress and pressure, especially in an academic setting? Pause. What are your strengths and weaknesses as a student? Pause. Awesome. Great job getting through the general questions. Now let's hop over to some behavioral questions. Describe a time when you had to work in a team. What was your role and how did you handle it? Pause. Can you provide an example of a challenging situation you faced in your academic or work experience and how you overcame it? Pause. How do you handle feedback, especially when it's critical? Pause. Describe a time you had to advocate for yourself in an academic setting. Pause. And lastly, on the behavioral questions, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends in research and nutrition? Pause. Awesome. Great job getting through the behavioral questions. Before we jump into some program-specific questions, I wanted to mention the Dietitian Lab and what we do. So I founded the Dietitian Lab to help RD-to-Bs choose the best grad school for their specific needs. A lot of times grad schools can be recommended and you're not necessarily thinking about time, length of the program, and cost. So I make sure to work with my clients and individualize the experience that I give to them by choosing a grad school that meets exactly what they're looking for. So if you're interested in grad school admissions coaching or help securing internships, the link is in the description below. Now let's jump into some program-specific questions. What courses or aspect of our program are you most excited about? Pause. How do you plan to contribute to our program and the broader dietetic community? Pause. Are you interested in any specific areas of research or specialization within nutrition? Pause. How do you feel about supervised experiential learning or dietetic internship? Do you have any concerns? Pause. What are your expectations from our faculty and the resources that we offer? Pause. And what are some of your favorite topics in nutrition and dietetics and why? Pause. Lastly, where do you see yourself working in the field of nutrition and dietetics? Pause. Okay, awesome job with the program-specific questions. I really think that you're going to ace this interview. Before I let you go, I'm going to give you some bonus feedback to make sure that you take these tips into the interview with you. Okay, so let's jump into the bonus feedback that I want to make sure you write down notes to take into your interview. These are really important. So When the admission team, if they ask this question about any weaknesses you have or in any interview, always follow up weaknesses with what you're doing to work on it. You don't just want to say, oh, I procrastinate. You want to be, I procrastinate and this is something I'm aware of. So in order to not do that, I have a calendar and take notes. Always make sure that you are following your weaknesses with how you're working on it, if that makes sense. The second tip I have is to come very well researched to the interview. You want to know a ton about the program in case they ask you a program specific question that's around program philosophy or mission. You want to show them that you're well researched about that program and that you want to attend that school. Nothing looks worse than them asking you a question about the program, something that you should know, like the mission statement or objective, and you don't know it. So make sure you're well researched on that. Tip number 3 is also something that you can incorporate into your interview around the program philosophy and mission. When you're answering questions, you can, kind of sprinkle some research that you've done around the program philosophy into how you're answering questions. And last tip, so tip number 4 that I want you to take into the interview is to come prepared with questions to ask them. They can't be the only one asking questions. You also want to be asking questions because this is just as much of an interview for you as it is for them. And before I let you go, just a reminder that a good interview should feel like a conversation. It should not feel like someone just reading off a list of questions and you answering it like a robot. You want it to be a conversation and to flow like one too. I hope that you enjoyed all of these tips and the mock interview. You can find me on thedietitianlab.com and at the Dietitian Lab on Instagram. We would love to see you over there. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate it.